Hello, this is Shauna with Soymilkmuse, and today we have December 11th and 12th with Dephemerember that is brought to us by our wonderful hosts Louisa Heinzel and Barbara from 49 Dragonflies. And I do suggest checking out their channels for more information and to be able to get your very own prompt list like this. It's a free download that they offer. And so we have, first of all, leaves, envelope, and owl. So 3 elements this time. And I kind of was playing with this already the other day because that was actually, last week. But it's okay. So this was a junk mail envelope that we got, and I was like, that's actually a pretty sweet like craft colored envelope. So I covered this side with book page, and I put, this is a book page owl as well. Book page on this side, a little bit of ribbon on the edges and some lace. I cut down the side so that it will be a side loading pocket once it's in the journal, and then I can decide at that point, do I want to glue, let's pull in the journal this is going to live in. Pardon me. So we could decide, are we going to glue it down like on this side so it flips open this way and then cover this with something, or do we want it to wrap around the page? And then I would probably just, cover this and maybe even make this a tuck spot by only gluing, right on the edge here. And then it could be a tuck spot as well. And then on this side it would, flip open and that part would be covered by this page. And then we'd have this whole page for writing space. So there's options for that one. I have not yet attached any leaves, but I thought I might add a little leaf embellishment somewhere depending on where I use it. And whoop, I had also started on this one. So similar idea, but this is actually envelopes that I had in my stash. Oops, these are the cards. They're cute. I thrifted them. And I had this little tag that was already going to go in this journal. And so I was playing around with ideas of, attaching it and making it another, like maybe a tiny little belly band. And then it could be a flip, or just using it as the, inside. And then finding, I have some smaller leaves too, maybe do something like a cluster with a leaf on the front. I don't know. There's so many options. And then I have this envelope because I have 3 signatures in that journal. So I was thinking I'd just make 3 of these for now. And maybe 1 extra that'll go in my stash. I like to have a prototype from each of the projects that I put in my stash. And that way, if what I have in my stash doesn't exactly fit my project, at least I have ideas in there and I can remember what I made and possibly how I made it. So let's cover this envelope, and I think this book page will be fine. This is primarily the text block I've been using in this journal. So let me just decide, kind of based on what the text is. Nothing's jumping out at me that's well, ill-favored. That's not a very pretty one. Yeah, maybe this one. And then you can decide at this point too, like if you care which way your text is going, are you going to put it on a page this way? Are you going to put it in so somebody can remove it and then open it like a normal envelope? If it's small enough, narrow enough, is it going to sit on the page this way? So you might want the text this direction. Are you going to put it this way so it flips out this way? So those are considerations if you care which way your text is going. I know not everybody does. Because of the nature of this flippy journal, I'm going to use it in this orientation, but I'm not certain yet. I guess I just make an executive decision and it will go on a page in the way I make it. Because I do kind of like my text upright unless I'm doing a collage. And if you're doing a collage, then it can go all the ways, and that's totally fine. So we don't need to go all the way in, although this side of the page is nicer. Yeah, yeah, this way. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of want to take off a little bit of both ends. Hopefully I don't take too much by the time I do this. So the original edge of the page, if I just line up there, it should be a straight fold. Line these two edges up here. And this book page is fairly brittle, so it doesn't take much to be able to tear it. And then, let's see how much more we need to take off. Let's bring that right to the bottom. Well, not quite right to the bottom. So we want to be able to slide it in there. And then we'll take this one down. And just do the same thing with that more straight edge. Lining it up. Whoops. Close enough. Close enough. And then this one I think I'm actually going to trim. Which is very, very close to the edge there. There we go. And that should be somewhat straight. And then tuck this in here. And this is always assuming we're going to use this as the pocket, or that this is going to show. Just like I did with the other one right here. I decided that this opening was just too small to be able to try to get anything in and out of, and I might actually make that same decision with this one. Depending on how it flips in and out, you know, it's pretty tight. So I went ahead and covered the whole back by gluing around this edge and at the very bottom here, and then I went right over it like that. And we could do something like that here and then cut open for a pocket either here or along the top. The bottom wouldn't make much sense to me, but or you could even like tear something kind of cool. That's an idea. I kind of like that. Yeah. Let's do something like that. So let's collage. And we'll start with this one since it's already pretty much the correct size. And I'm using Fabrifix glue because it dries really fast, and none of this is, pardon me, photo paper that I'm working with. I've noticed with photo paper that the Fabrifix sometimes will peel off, taking the top layer of paper with it, where the, you know, wet glue, something water-based, soaks in a little bit better and is then more sturdy. Because you don't want your things falling apart. That's not good. Just a really thin bead because we don't want it to glue our pocket shut all the way. And I'm going to go a little bit onto the flap. I don't remember how far it goes, but it doesn't matter too much because we're going to be collaging, so just get a good amount here. smack this puppy down. Okay, didn't really come far enough on this, so let's, yeah. Maybe should have gone all the way to the edge to cover the sticky part of the envelope flap. But we can always add washi tape or another strip of paper there. In case we decide to use that for a tuck, we wouldn't want, you know, the moisture in the air to cause something to actually become stuck in the tuck. Okay, so I moved my alcohol inks here. I was playing with them last night, working with the bookmark, and I still got some of it on me. All right, I think I had another book page already prepared here somewhere. Yep. Oh, maybe I used it. Nope, I used it. Okay, so let's get more. I'll grab a few. Yeah, it's just very, very brittle. It was a like book of the month club. I believe this one was from the 60s. So those are not always the best quality books. Some of them are quite nice, but some of them were just designed for mass production and a reasonable price, and so they're not as the word I'm looking for is escaping me. Longevity was not their goal with them. So let's tear this down here. I think we're gonna add an image. So hopefully if I have any not so pleasant words, we'll just cover them up. Let's see, I'm gonna tear that down, I think. So I think we can bring this down this way. And I think I'm gonna cut it on the side. So let's give this a bit of ink. I've been using Scorched Timber Distress ink in this journal primarily. I did get out my Rusty Hinge and Wild Honey though, because it's got more of the oranges and yellows, and I don't play with those inks very much. I actually recently bought, or completed, I should say, I recently completed my collection of all of the Ranger oxide pads. The full 3-inch or 2-inch, whatever size they are. I think they're 3-inch. I just recently completed collecting all of them. That was a slow process because it's not cheap, you know. So I have lots of colors actually that would go with this journal. And right now though, I've got 2 projects I'm trying to complete plus Dephemerember, so I only have the 2 pads out on my desk right now for just in case, you know, saving space. But if I complete one of them, then I can get out my other ones, because I have 1, 2, 3, I have 4 purple ink pads on my desk right now too. I'm not going to go quite all the way to the edge because I'm going to cut that off. Close, but not all the way. Oh no, I changed my mind about that, didn't I? I was gonna tear it down. That's okay. I think we're still good. We are still good. Yeah, we got it all the way to the edge. Let's roll the extra glue off. That was kind of how I started collecting my inks when I started junk journaling. Was, you know, you start with the black, the brown, and then I added the pink and the purple and a green. And then for a long time, that's all I had. And then I think I bought my re-inkers for my vintage photo and my black soot before I bought more ink pads. But, you know, it's fun, you know, and then each journal I did, like if it had a different color theme or whatever, then I would buy those colors I needed for that journal of the ink pads. And then as my ink pads start to, you know, get dry, that's when I'll buy the re-inker for that color. So, slightly more affordable to do it that way. Spread out the cost. I'm using a little bit of sandpaper to just take this book page off the edge. Sanding block would probably be faster than this tiny piece. Or I have nail file too. It's my sanding drawer. Okay, that is good enough. There we go. And then, oh goodness, I kind of dabbed that right in the ink pad, didn't I? Or there's still alcohol ink hanging out somewhere on the desk. No. I had bought some kind of off-brand on Amazon of the alcohol inks, and I don't think it's worth it. I really don't. Yeah, I ended up, well, we'll talk about it later when we do the bookmark, but yeah, I think it's worth it to buy to buy the good ones, you know, Ranger probably. I just saw this line and it's what made me laugh. So thou hast betrayed me, flibbertigibbet. Oh my goodness. That's too good. So I'm just going to tear this down. And I might put some, let's make sure we're still upright here. I might put some washi or trim here. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to ink it. Flibbertigibbet's such a great word, isn't it? It may end up covered up, but I know it's there. Ooh, yeah. Tearing still right along there, just inking it. And another one. So we kind of emphasize that tear just a little bit. Maybe. There we go. Okay. Let's try not to stick our project in our ink pad again. Some glue all the way around. It says flibbertigibbet on the other side too. Just as I was inking over that. He heard the smith's voice issuing from the bowels of the earth call out, "Flibbertigibbet, do you come last? To be sure to fasten the trap." Okay. Apparently he regularly calls somebody Flibbertigibbet. Okay, and we'll see how much of this ends up getting torn off the top. Maybe I should have moved it to the bottom a bit, but that's all right. Now we'll see how well this tears also. It may not tear as neatly as I would hope. Oh boy, here we go. Oh man. Okay, there we go. Maybe I should have waited for the glue to dry a bit. Okay. Just don't want to go. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, if I'd waited for that glue to dry, it would have been better, but look at that. Maybe should have come from here. Let's just open this up this way. Get a pull of the scissors a little bit, kind of tear through it with my scissors. You can see what I'm doing. That way it opens up the entire top. I like that. We'll cover that up. That's a mess. And then this, that glue's almost dry. We can just kind of tear it along where it's torn there. The paper, the envelope provides the resistance it needs to not tear too far. I like it. I like it. This one's going to give us more room for leaves too. Give this a good inking along the edge as well. There we go. I like it. That might make an upper tuck, wouldn't it? A little focal point kind of in the corner. Yeah, we'll save that. Might be able to use it. Okay, I have a couple more of these book pages here. And we have this one as a barred owl. Will you fit? I might not have given you enough room. Let's see what else. Oh, there's a great horned owl. He's got a lot of purple though, and this journal doesn't really have purple, so we'll save him. Yep, so I think if it's going to be an owl from this book, it needs to be this owl. Let me remake my fold here. And then I'm not sure if this is going to be exposed or not, or glued in, but I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And that will help me visually to remember where my fold's at. This one has a tiny bit of purple on it, but it's more just kind of a... That is the one I was... Yep. It's not in-your-face purple. That's what I'm trying to say. Because even this kit does have a little bit, just a teeny bit. I don't know if I'd even call it purple, but I think it'll go okay. It'll be fine. It will be fine. Let's see how small we can tear this without losing any of the image. We're getting close. I'm thinking about what I might want to layer it with. Okay, set that aside. Oh yeah. So you could go on either side, really. I actually kind of like it on this side. I think I'm gonna do that, and then we need something for the other side. I could tear some of her down. She's a little big. I printed them in many sizes here. I think I said in one of the other videos that who that kit is from. I can't remember right now to tell you. If I remember, I will link the kit in the description below. And I do always, in these Dephemerember videos, I put the link to Barbara and Louisa's YouTube channels down below so that you can find them easier. So let's start by inking the owl. I don't want to put anything too bulky underneath, because this is, the owl is, it's pretty thin book page. I was thinking about some of my mesh netting would look cool, but yeah. There we go. Hey, buddy. Isn't he cute? All right. Well, we definitely need to have some leaf. Oops, this one's a little smaller and very yellow. That's not so bad. This netting is pretty thin, and I can color it up. If we want to put just a little bit of that. I keep wanting to use green in this journal, and there's really not any green, which is so weird. It's like these forest fairies, but it's very autumnal with no green, which is kind of strange. So if we do this one, do we want the netting to be dark, or do we want it to be... We could also use a brown leaf. I'm going to peel the plastic off. Yeah, it just peels right off of there. If we do maybe Rusty Hinge or Wild Honey for the netting. Let's see what it looks like with Wild Honey. And I'm going to get a piece of paper or something. We'll use the media mat. I'm gonna use the slickery side though, because I don't want extra ink getting stuck down in the cool textury part. I bought this big roll of this netting on Amazon. I mean, there's really a lot here. I don't know if you can see that. There's really a lot. And I chose the white because you can make it any color you want. And this is going to last me a really, really long time. It was pretty reasonable. It was under $20, and it was in the, like, with the floral stuff. I can't remember if they called it floral netting or whatever. It's kind of for like wrapping bouquets and stuff. But yeah, you can do acrylic paint. It takes the ink pretty well. If you got the ink wet, or this, you know, the netting wet after it's inked, the ink might come off, but there's enough texture that it hangs on to it good enough. Alcohol inks work with it. And I think I tried food dye also. As far as I know, that worked. I haven't actually worked with that piece yet. I mean, it looks good right now, but and acrylic paint would give you a bit more body to it as well. There. Not sure which side I'm gonna glue it down, so I'm gonna ink both sides. I used some of this netting on my jelly plate as well. Oops, here's one. So that's the texture I got here was from this. I just laid a piece of the netting on and then put another piece of paper over and kind of, you know, rubbed over. And then one of them I actually used the brayer over the netting as well. And it's kind of double duty, because then you get some color on your netting and you get the texture on your image that you're going to pull from your jelly plate. Not much goes to waste around here. Okay, that's quite good, I think. Set that aside. And wipe my fingers off because they're very yellow now. Looks like I've been harvesting dandelions. Okay, good enough. Stay put. Okay, I'm gonna set this back on that too, because the dauber pad is nice and juicy and wet right now. Okay. Now, where did our piece go? Here we are. Like that. It's nice and muted. It's not as bright as I was expecting. I do think I like it that way. Just a little pop of color. Okay, I like that. And I like that. And then we'll put something else here. I have some little white flowers. I'm not sure that's what I'm going to use, but I got just, you know, a couple bunches of them. And take the plastic bits out. And then you have these little artificial flowers that you can ink up and be whatever color that you want. Once again, that's why I chose white ones. So you can make them whatever color. Much more flexible when you're buying supplies to buy things that can be versatile, you know. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Fabrifix down here, just in a couple of the bigger spots. I'm going to use a dry wipe. Okay. And now we're going to put plenty of glue on the owl, because we want it to glue not just to the netting, but also to go down onto the paper below it. Okay. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to use the dry wipe to press it down in case it seeps out the edges at all. One thing I love about Fabrifix, it dries so fast. There's no water in it, so it doesn't warp your paper. It's acetone based, and I think most of us know that acetone evaporates in the air really quickly, and so it evaporates much quicker than water. There we go. Cute. Now for the leaf, though, I think I'm going to use this because it does dry clear. You could use Fabrifix, but it will seep through a bit. On these artificial leaves anyway. And art glitter glue dries pretty fast for a water-based glue. There we go. And that's basically what our prompt said. Altered envelope. Where are we? Or it said leaves and envelope and owl. So we have a leaf, an envelope, and an owl. So I'm going to leave that one here for now. And I will choose an embellishment for this after it's dry. And let's move on to the bookmark, because that was a lot of fun. I'll just get some of this out of my way. So it was Louisa Heinzel. She gave me the idea of putting plastic or acetate through the Sizzix. And so I did that, and I tried to color it up with alcohol ink, and that's where we ran into trouble, was this alcohol ink. It's just a, cheap. I had never played with alcohol ink, and I wanted to try it, so I found just a really inexpensive set of them on Amazon. They're not bad, and if you're working with paper, they're fine. No problem. But the difference between working with that on the plastic and the Tim Holtz alloy was incredible. And I don't know if that's only because this is an alloy, or if it's because it's just such a much better product. I don't know. Yeah, so these are the only two I actually have that are Ranger, is the blending solution and the alloy. And Ranger's having a sale right now. I just noticed in my email, if you spend $35, you get free shipping. So I might have to do that. So I put this plastic packaging. I think it was from Makeup Sponges or something. I don't even remember. It was in my stash. So it's fairly thick, but not too thick, if that makes sense. And this one I did with this, which is a Sizzix folder. And it's quite a bit thicker, and it's a pretty busy pattern. And it did make the impression was milky, and I'm okay with that. Like, there were still clear spots. And you can kind of see here, maybe you can see the book page underneath. And this is after I put gold on it. And I tried to do black on the underside, which is how I got so messy. I left it for hours and it never dried. I was like, oh, this is not good. So I ended up wiping it off with a baby wipe and letting that dry. And then I used the ink blender and the alloy to go over the top. And then I used a dry pad after a couple minutes. Like, it dried so fast, the alloy did. After a couple minutes, I went over it with a dry alcohol blender pad, just to kind of take some off the top, whatever it would. And it did a little bit, took a little bit off. But it was on there really good, and I thought it was really cute. So I put book page underneath. I did use my corner rounder on this plastic, and it worked fine. I put book page, and then I glued that to some ivory cardstock, and then I put lace, and then I stitched around the edge. I inked it. I added this a little eyelet and this cute little tassel. I lucked out and found a whole bunch of tassels at the thrift store in a bag. So yeah, I think it's cute, and I like the texture on this side, because if you're a person who reads a lot of books and you use bookmarks frequently, you know that if they're too smooth, they just want to slip right out of your book all the time. And I don't know that the texture of this plastic is going to be enough to keep it from slipping out of the book. So that's why I put the lace on the back. It's nice and rough, you know. So I think that's really cute. Really cute. And then this, I think I got this one at Joann's maybe before they closed. I don't even remember what actual brand it is. But it made a thinner, it's not as, the embossing and debossing are not as thick. And so this curled less, for one. This one curled a lot. You know, you can kind of see. I've had it pressed under flat things, and I figure it's fine. It's not going to hurt anything, but I do like them a bit flatter. And this one it's flatter. It has more clear spots, and I think that has more to do with the design than anything. But also how far that plastic stretches, because that's when it turns milky, is when it stretches. Anyway, I was pretty happy, you know, with that. So I'm definitely going to make another one, but not right now. I think this is good for today. Kind of pretty self-explanatory of how to do that. Another idea would be to use the plastic packaging over an image or a book page. Same thing. I did use my Fabrifix to glue the acetate, and it works fine. You don't really see it. I mean, maybe a tiny bit, but by the time you ink it or stitch it, or, you know, like with the pattern, you're not really going to see it. So the sewing was really just added insurance and interest. So that is that. And we'll come back and do the next two prompts, which will be belly band and butterfly labels and shaker tag and moon dust. What if the moon were made of cheese? Then would moon dust be Parmesan? I don't know. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.